shouts and tells everyone. So if you don't want to be in the recording, it would be good if you can knock your camera off, because I can't tell who's going to end up in the pictures. If you've got a question, we're going to try and take them all at the end so we don't spoil the flow of the presentation. If you want to put that in the chat, then we'll come back to them at the end, or you can go into reactions and raise your hand, and then we know that you've got a question and we can come to you and we can have a chat. This session has been funded by RTR. They've funded a series on sharing self-advocacy best practice, and this is the last one in the series. So we've got an evaluator here today with us called Libby, and none of you really need to worry too much about that. She's just going to write us a little report on how the session works. And Joanne's asked what RTR is. I don't know what it stands for, if I'm being very honest, but they've given us several pots of funding over the years around improving self-advocacy. But I can share something later if you're interested. And so Libby's going to write us a little report, and at the end, I'm going to ask if you guys could maybe give us some feedback on the session, on what you've learned, what you thought was really good, and I'm going to ask you to put that in the chat. And I'll prompt you at the end so none of you forget. But that would be really useful if you can share what you think with us. And I think that might be all I have to tell you, and we can load up the presentation. Gary.
Hello, I'm Gary Borley. Some people get my surname wrong, of course, but it's Borley, as it is not with end with a Y. I am one of the co-founders of Learning Disability England, which has been going for about, I think, about 6 years now. It feels a lot.
Just a second, Gary. Is it pronounced Bewillet?
No, it's Borley. Borley.
Borley, yeah.
Yes. It's very French. I've been campaigning around self-advocacy in the UK for over 30 years. Started with the first group called the Mencap Participation Forum Group, which was based in 1982. And I went to America in 1984 to bring back the idea of people first, and founded it. And I set it up about writing 400 letters, 4 pages long, and used my own stamps money and postage out of my own benefits. And I got all the addresses out of a phone directory. So that took a lot of guts. But I didn't have enough guts to put my my support person at the time. So I put his name, and they all started writing to him. But I'm more comfortable now to send stuff on my behalf. But I've done a lot of conferences, done a lot of television work, and I've been on radio, spoken at the biggest conference I spoke in was in Toronto, that was an international People First conference, and that was in front of 1,800 people with learning disabilities. And so I've traveled different parts of the world to spread the word. In the beginning, self-advocacy was difficult because there were the parents and carers and service providers were a bigger say, and people with learning disabilities didn't have a proper say in the beginning. Unlike now, we've got more self-advocacy groups. A lot of them doing a lot of great things around the country. I think it is important for everyone to come together so we can have a louder voice instead of us all being separate all the time. It's good to have a national voice, similar like they do have for all Welsh People First and People First Scotland, and there's People First of New Zealand and People First Canada that have all got a national voice, but England doesn't have at the moment. So that's the aim. Next slide, please. In 2019, Learning Disability England got some money from an organisation called Nesta. The money was to help self-advocacy groups get stronger by working together. LDE asked 5 groups to get involved. These groups all wanted to work together as self-advocates. They decided to call themselves Self-Advocacy Together. Self-Advocacy Together is a social movement campaigning to make sure people with learning disability are leaders and are heard. We think people with learning disabilities should be involved in decision-making that affects us. Today, we are going to hear about what Self-Advocacy Together has done and learned. I hope you enjoy hearing about their work, which is fascinating.
Who are Self-Advocacy Together? Self-Advocacy Together movement brought five self-advocacy organizations, different parts of England. All of the groups were already campaigning for the right of people with a learning disability. Hi, I'm Aisha and I'm from Lewisham Speaking Up.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm from Lewisham Picking Up.
Hi, I'm Michael and I'm from a company called BMix.
Hey, I'm Sammy, I'm also from BMix.
Hello, I'm Ian, I'm from Sunderland People First.
Hi, I'm Matty and I'm from Sunderland People First.
We think it's important to speak up for ourselves. Self-advocacy groups have been working well with the service in their area. They are supported people to get their voices heard.
But there has never been a big national movement led by self-advocates with learning disabilities. We have been working with Learning Disability England. We are trying to build a movement so things can change.
It hasn't always been easy. 2 groups decided to leave Self-Advocacy Together. They were Changing Our Lives and My Life, My Choice. We chose to carry on with our work with just 3 groups.
One new group has joined us. They are the campaign group from the northeast of England called We Are Human Too. So now we are 4 groups working together.
The money we had to get us going has run out now, but we are still working together to try and get things changed. Why is this important? It's important because people with learning disabilities died 16 years earlier than the rest of the population.
It's important because over a quarter of people with a learning disability die before they are 50. It's important because people with a learning disability often get poor quality health and care services. It's important because people don't get always get the chance to have a job.
It's important because we all know about the scandals involving Winterbourne View and Walton Hall, and there are other cases of abuse. It's important because people don't always have a self-advocacy group to support them.
Some bosses have tried to improve services for people with a learning disability, but a lot of decisions about health and care services are made without the voice of people with learning disability. We think this is wrong.
Self-Advocacy Group met a lot of times to decide what we should do. We decided on 3 big things that we want to change. These are our 3 big issues.
Big issue number 1, we want assessment and treatment units to close down. We want people to get support in their community, not inside institutions. We formed the Right to Home campaign, which you might have heard of.
We did 2 online campaigns. One was in 2020 to remember the first anniversary of the abuse at Walton Hall. Another was in 2021 to remember the 10th anniversary of the abuse of Winterbourne View.
We also had a lot of meetings with the NHS. We campaigned for self-advocacy to happen inside ATUs. One of our groups, BMIX, had got some money from the NHS to run a Speak Up group in the ATUs.
Big issue number 2, we want to have strong self-advocacy groups in all parts of the country. We think self-advocacy groups are important. They should get funding so people can have their say.
Sunderland People First worked with Sheffield University to make a map of all the self-advocacy groups in the country. We'll put the link to the map in the chat and send it out after this meeting. You can check if your local group is on the map.
We have also been involved in some research with the Open University to find out why some groups get funding and others don't. We hope the research will help other areas get funding for self-advocacy groups.
Big issue number 3, we want more chances for paid work for people with learning disabilities. We want people to have the chance to have a job. We will now show a short film about how we started as Self-Advocacy Together.
You'll have to forgive me all for 2 seconds while I shift us onto a different screen. Can you all see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Go.
Hello. When I was at school, I was kept in classrooms. I wanted to be out, making friends, say my cousin, but the teachers wouldn't listen to me. When I was growing up, I didn't know what friendship was until I'd left college and I went to the friendship group and I was supported to make friends.
There is no national group represented and led by people with disabilities advocacy for their needs. Jody is part of a new movement uniting people with disabilities to make their voices heard.
there hasn't been a self-advocacy social movement. There have been different structures, but many of those ended quite a few years ago, and self-advocacy groups were isolated, were struggling to get a strong voice together to make the difference that they want to together. So this was a huge opportunity for people to connect and learn and be a movement that's led by disabled people themselves. There are 5 groups across England who have come together. They're calling themselves the Coalition, the first founding members.
Welcome everyone, it's all nice to see all you guys here today. Thank you for coming. I know we've had some bad weather recently, but
everyone's coming up with their own things what they do at their advocacy groups, and we're sharing ideas together.
We can speak for ourselves, and we know what we can do because we've got all lived experience. We've lived all our lives with all these disabilities, and we know to where the changes should be made.
I do things now that I never ever thought I would be doing. Live independently, have my partner, I'd go out to the pub. Things that anyone would do. We as human too, and see what we can do rather than what we can't do.
Yeah. What we learn from working together, we have learned how to communicate with other groups. Zoom has helped us to stay in touch with each other. We have banded together even in the hard time. COVID hasn't stopped us. In fact, it has made us stronger.
Although things online has been helped us stay connected, it has been hard to campaign online. We've been disappointed that people haven't always listened to us or got back to us. We we have learned that running a big campaign takes a lot of time and energy.
We have learned that working together gives us stronger voice, but we weren't sure what to do next. That's where all of you come in as our audience for today.
We have decided that we want to start a social movement. But what is a social movement? A social movement is different form from a campaign.
It is more like a cause that everyone can get behind. A good example would be the Black Lives Matter movement. A social movement is about changing attitudes.
Our social movement idea is really simple. It is that self-advocacy works. Self-advocacy is about speaking up for yourself and your rights. It is about not being left behind and showing we exist.
We are going to watch some more videos. These films are of self-advocacy, talking about why speaking up is so important to them.
My name is Dawn and I work for My Life, My Choice. I think self-advocacy is very important because it helps people have a voice. Self-advocacy has helped me have a good life because I meet friends and I go out and have fun. I help other people to speak up for themselves. If I didn't know about self-advocacy, I think my life would be pretty boring and I'd be stuck at home looking at four walls.
I'm Scott Watkin. I'm Head of Engagement at Seeability. I've done lots of things as the best things that I've done as self-advocate. I think the best thing I've done is actually producing and writing a strategy to make sure that the people we support at Seeability not only have a voice within the organisation but externally as well, so they get their voice heard and they've also got the power to being able to become the next generation of leaders. I think it's important now more than ever actually, because actually people really need their voice heard. Lots of things are changing and actually it's a way of making sure that professionals and everybody listen to what the lives of people with learning disabilities and autism want.
Hi, my name is Dean Snowden. I am mildly autistic. I live in Northampton in North Yorkshire and I'm a member of the Hambleton and Richmondshire Local Area Group of Keyring, in which I'm also its current Vice Co-Chair. We want people to talk about self-advocacy and why it is important. To me, self-advocacy is useful because it is a way to help give me a voice. Self-advocacy is important because not only does it give me a voice, but it gives other disabled people a voice too, so that they can get recognised and understand that they have a right to speak as well.
I'm Paul and I'm 20 and on job money, one of the bosses of my life, my choice. Why the self-advocacy important? Because be independent instead of the big bosses talking over us. We got our own voices to speak out on different things. Self-advocacy is really good for me because if it wasn't for self-advocacy for me, I wouldn't gone back. I would gone back into hospital, and on top of that, I would help myself to be confident to talk to other people.
My name is Patricia Charlesworth, and I'm 74 years old, and I have a learning disability. Self-advocacy is really, really, really important. There wasn't much known about. I don't even think they thought about self-advocacy when I was a little girl. And everybody used to speak up for you and do things for you, and that's not very good. You know, it's very not helpful. I've done so much in my life since I've had control of my own life. I've done so much. Being 74, I work harder now than when I did it when I was supposed to go to work. There was so much challenging behaviour, but that didn't have to happen. You know, it happened because I was frustrated. I wanted to be able to decide what happens to me.
My name is Dawn.
Self-advocacy is about getting your voices heard. We want everyone to say self-advocacy works when they are talking about what they do. It can be you as a person or you as a group or an organization. Please share all the great work you do.
You can do social media on your website, on leaflets, and when you talk to people. Use hashtag self-advocacy works or just say the words self-advocacy works.
Some people and groups are already using hashtag self-advocacy works. We want as many people as possible to use it. We want you all to use self-advocacy works.
We think if everyone does this, then it will change the way people think about learning disabilities and self-advocacy. Together we are stronger. self-advocacy works.
We're going to watch one last film. This video is from the We Are Human 2 group. It's about having a voice and being listened to.
Sorry, everybody, 1 second. I was stuck in the PowerPoint and I can't get us out.
Hello. The Department of Health and Social Care has
Yeah.
said it is determined to reduce the number of people with autism and learning difficulties in mental health
I'm
hospitals.
not on a work call. Can you call me back?
Gabby, can we just mute you because I can't hear the video? Lisa, could you do that? I can't. Thank you.
Human 2 as a collection of 3 self-advocacy groups.
Speaking up together at your voice counts.
Skills for people.
Sunderland People First. We started the group because we heard about what happened at Walton Hall.
Self-advocates think it's about time we started to come together to stop this abuse from happening again.
The things that happened in these places made us feel
angry,
annoyed.
It felt like people with learning disability.
And autistic people were being victimised.
So what happened?
8 years ago, in 2011, there was the Winterbourne Views scandal. BBC held a panorama programme on it, and it just feels like a repeat of that, except it's actually on our doorstep this time. The Walton Hall scandal. Walton Hall was in Durham, and unfortunately, it hits really close to home, this one. So I'm here today to sort of support everybody and show that we don't want this to happen anymore, and it shouldn't be happening.
We wondered why people would do these terrible things.
I don't understand how people can treat each other with such cruelty, and sadly I think it's because some people see people who are different in any way, who might be autistic or have a learning disability, as being less than them and less than human, and I think that's why this abuse occurs.
We've got involved to do with national campaign and organised a local protest so we can get other people interested and to stop it happening again.
The protest was really important. We were trying to explain why people shouldn't be in hospitals or being abused.
Every one of us was there at the protest, trying to get their point across at the public that we are human. We may be different, look different, act different, but we are human too.
While going to protest, worked hard other ways to raise awareness of the abuse sometimes faced in assessment and treatment units.
We've made some training to help patients to know if they've been abused and how to get help. We wanted to make sure everyone in secure hospitals and assessment and treatment units has choice and control of the treatment and what they can do in life.
I've experienced a lot of bad experience myself in the years when Dad died, and I just couldn't manage or cope at home, you know, and I was sent like in the Prudhoe Hospital and backwards and forwards, you know, back to me mum's, back to Prudhoe, back to somewhere else, you know. It took about 30 years on my life.
We have joined in with national campaigns including Strict of Human Rights and Right to Home.
The most important part is having a shared voice. We are stronger together.
The Care Quality Commission shared a new report in October 2020 called Out of Sight, Who Cares?
This is another report that showed abuse
of people with a learning disability and autistic people.
This is another report which has a list of things that need to happen to stop abuse from happening in hospitals and case settings.
We all had a say to what we think needs to happen to stop this abuse.
But people with a learning disability and autistic people say,
stop sharing reports and recommendations for change.
Self-advocates and families have been saying this for 30 years.
No more report. We need action. Now.
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 We
are human too.
We are human too.
Thank you for listening to us today. Does anyone have anything to say, or how do you think you can get involved in our movement?
Thank you for sharing, guys. I think you did a lovely job. Does anybody have any questions or things they want to say? If you could maybe put your hand up and we can come to you. So I can see Lauren, Amanda, Joanne, and Zarifa, is it? I apologise if I got that wrong. If we go to Lauren first, and we'll go in that order that I said your name, so you can put your hand down. Amanda, I don't want your arm to fall off. Can't hear you, Lauren. Can you unmute? There you go. You've done it.
I was trying to say it about, I seen a video about Sharon's in that's what I was talking about, Sharon, and that's what exactly she's saying, and about it said advocate or something like that, and Jodie, a very amazing job and brilliant ideas. So it was Matthew Moon, brilliant, and Sam, it's fantastic, amazing work you had. I can say well done to Sharon and Jodie and Matthew and Sam. Well done to you, I think. And to Ian and Matty as well.
They all did a great job, didn't they? Thanks, Lauren.
Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Kev.
I'm not going to be too long because I've got a few things to sort out anyway.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
Amanda, I think you were next, but I've lost you on my screen. Are you still there? Can you unmute?
There
we go.
As well as all what presentation you've made and all the films were fantastic. I think since Sunday Mirror yesterday, I think your first big aim is more important than ever about little Ben King's death last year at Causton Park Hospital, who was mistreated and then his oxygen not checked and died of a cardiac arrest. His inquest were other day, and it's a year this Thursday since his death, and that was many others what have died in those types of units. And everyone, all us in Self-Advocates, are only know after someone's inquest. When it's public knowledge and all that, you don't get to know about it in your leader meetings or your safeguarding meetings that somewhat locally or nationally has happened in the units. Do all the groups don't know. We didn't know a local one where we are in Dorset, Purbeck Care, had the same trouble as Winterbourne View and running parallel at the same time. And we didn't know there was that running the same time as Winterbourne View and same troubles, because authorities don't tell don't tell everybody. You don't only get to know too late. Or when you do have them reviews, nothing's done enough, is it? And so I'll approving being a part of your movement, and hopefully all of us together can support your work, and we'll support your work, and hope all of us together can make it stop. Because even people like us, because of awful people are dying in the community and all, and nothing's much is done about it either. It's like we're seen worthless, but hopefully all of us together can help make a change. Power to the people to get like what we thank you.
Amanda. Thanks, Amanda. See everyone agreeing with you there with their fists up in the air. Who was next? I feel like there was a hand up that's maybe come down. Sorry, I can't remember everyone. Joanne, it was you.
I'm from Speaking Up Together. I'm with Cool Anne, who's also got a hand up. So it might be about the same thing. To talk about the We Are Human 2 group came up with a petition to ask for an independent group to monitor assessment and treatment units. And I've put the link to that in the chat. So you just click on the link to sign the petition. Yeah, and Anne's my colleague, so she might be talking about that, or it might be something else. I'll put my hand down.
Rachel, can I suggest that maybe along with the other links that we put the petition, email people the petition if people are happy with that. Have a look at.
Stick that in as well.
Yeah. Good idea, Lisa, yeah.
Great, thanks, Joanne. Zarifa?
Rachel, I just wanted to say well done to everyone for the presentation today. So you should give yourselves a pat on the back. Well done, everyone.
I think you're right, Aisha. You all did a lovely job.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Zarifa, and I advocate a lot for people with learning disabilities as well as any other disabilities in the borough that I live in Newham in London. I do find that people with learning disabilities do face a lot of inequalities. Completely agree with all what you've said. And I do think it's a movement, and we've got to pull in allies, and that they or maybe your parent carers, and also other good allies that you may have between your supported team that you may have. And I think we have to change people's perspective about people with learning disabilities. Just like you say, we are human and we have rights, and sometimes our rights are being abused. I have a son with learning disability. He's been discriminated most of his life. I'm still fighting for justice for him because he was so severely discriminated in school and throughout his life. I'm not going to let it drop because my son matters to me, and I'd like him to self-advocate for himself, and I'm trying to build that up in him, but it's really hard because he suffers from autism that hasn't been diagnosed, and I'm trying to get it diagnosed for years, but it's, as a BME parent, there's so much racial inequalities and our voices don't get heard, and especially if you're a disabled mother, which I am, and I've now been diagnosed with a condition that does cause LD for myself. So I know that I'm going down that pathway as well. So I just think that we have to be strong. We have to self-advocate, but we have to provide people with the empowering knowledge of their rights. If we don't know our rights, we can't fight for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's about educating yourself. What? Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, we could do with more people to get involved.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Right,
Thank-
wait, right. Why
Yes,
not me?
Corinda.
Why not me?
Oh, you might have to catch up, Corinda, later, because I think we're just doing questions now. Is that okay?
Oh, right.
Anne, I think you were next.
I certainly agree with what people say. Well done for your presentation. And like Joanne was saying, I'm part of Speak On Up Together. We've been talking about Black Lives Matter, and we would like to join in your movement. And it's well done to you guys for standing up for your rights. People with learning disabilities, like I said before, will have to have choice and control in our lives.
Very well said, Anne.
Yeah, choice and control.
Thanks, Anne. Carol, I think you were next on my list.
Hi, I'm Carol King, and I'm the chairman of Torbay Mencap, and I'd like to set up a self-advocacy group with our members, and if possible I'd like to have a copy of that wonderful film that was made, because I think it was quite inspiring, and I'd like to know how, if we are successful in setting up a group, how do we link in with you?
Wait.
I think we can definitely send the films out, Carol. All of our self-advocates, how can people get involved?
I think, if I'm not correct, it's the Facebook page, but don't quote me on that. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have got a Facebook page, haven't you? And I can send the link out for that too.
And just using the hashtag Self-Advocacy Works. Carol, I wonder if you mean like you're not quite sure how to set up a group. Is that what you mean?
No, I think I can set up a group, but I want to see what the self-advocacy group are doing, so that we can align ourselves and make sure we're all saying the same thing, and you know, we're joining up in force as opposed to doing different things, going in different directions. And I'm a bit of a techno dinosaur. I don't know what hashtag is. I don't even know what it means, what it does, or you don't have to explain that to me, I'm afraid.
Oh.
So what it means is, Carol, is when you go on, you post something on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any sort of social media platform, you use, when you're maybe describing what you've been doing or sharing photographs, you put in that text, hashtag self-advocacy works. That creates like a link, which is then, it'll go, you can just type into Google's hashtag self-advocacy works, and it'll bring up all of the work that people are doing, well, everybody that's shared. So that's why we want everybody to share what everybody else is doing, so we can all see the great work that's going on. We can connect with one another, because we can use that, because it'll show where people are.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa, for explaining that. Does that answer all your questions, Carol? Yeah.
Thank you, perfectly.
Nicola, you were next on my list.
Thanks so much. I'm here with Terry Bartlett and Vicky Green from Surviving Through Stories. So we're a project that's set up with the OU and the charity Generate to collect pandemic experiences and share them. And I was really, I loved all the presentations, and very taken with that statement that COVID in some ways has made us stronger. We've got a goal that we want to get to. Terry, I don't know if you can say what our goal is.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Terry, joined with Surviving Through Story with Vicky. and I'm also with Generator as well. Tony's at the bottom. Now, we were aiming to get 20 more stories onto our website, and I think the link, should we leave the link in the description below, Nicola, should we? Yeah, we'll leave the link in the chat to our website. So basically, Surviving Through Story tells us, you get to tell your stories, what happened during your times during the pandemic, when it all began, when the lockdowns happened, and the government didn't listen to our words, that didn't want to make us priority for the vaccines and all that. So if you want to tell us your stories, feel free to put your stories on our website or inform Kate, who's, look, she's busy at the moment. I mean, inform Kate and Nicola or someone within our advisory team. We can pop it on the website for you.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, Terry. The other thing is that what we really want to do, we would love to work with you guys, because we're planning to hold a conference in October to use the stories as a way of saying, what can we learn from these stories to build a better society, a stronger society where we're all working together. And what we would love to do is to run that conference with participation from other people, really showing, and I think building that strong self-advocacy movement, that social movement, is all part of it. Vicky, I don't know if you want to say anything, or do you think we've said it all?
Yeah, hiya, I'm Vicky. There was another lady on here called Sharon, and she's part of the Surviving Through Story group. I've put in the group exactly why she couldn't make it. But anyway, going back to what Nicola said, basically, we want as many stories that we can possibly do. I think Nicola's just took the words right out of my mouth, because I was going to say that those exact words myself, actually. If you've had any stories like a bereavement, or you know someone, or you've know someone who has, could be any stories, bereavement is, I don't know. There's various different categories on the website that it could be like pictures, it could be videos, it could be text, it could be, I don't know.
That's brilliant, Vicky. Thank you so much for explaining that the stories are all different kinds. Thank you guys very much for giving us that time to explain, and we'll email you maybe and about the conference that we're planning to hold, because I think this is such an exciting movement, seeing all of so many people coming together to voice this strong opinion.
Yeah, I agree to that one.
Me too.
It'd be a great other way for people to connect, I think, to do it through a conference. So I'll share those things in the follow-up email as well, in case anybody misses the link. Who was next on my list? Danielle.
Hello. I am Danielle from Speak Out in Brighton and Hove. We in the southeast.
Oh, Danielle, your connection's not very good. I don't know if it's not very good for anyone else.
Explain more.
Can I help maybe? Danielle, your internet isn't working, I don't think, very well. I know sort of what Danielle's saying. Would it be okay if I sort of say it? Danielle, are you there, or? So Danielle and I work together. Danielle and I work together on the Learning Disability Voices Network in Brighton, and we have we want to try to bring together self-advocacy groups across the southeast in terms of those other sorts of things that go on about the regional forum and stuff like that. So it's slightly different, I guess, in a way to what your group is doing, but we wonder how we can work together and how we can fit in together, because we are doing the same thing, trying to bring people together, and it is self-advocates coming together. So I don't know how that's, I think, Danielle, is that right? What you were going to sort of say? You can thumbs up if.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just want to know we've just started communicating with people, and some of the people are here. We're very keen to help this go forward and help people get together and have a voice and all that, and we've got a little bit of funding for it. We've got a year left on the project, and we'd like to be able to show in that year that it's worth funding, maybe as a joint bid or something later, that we could all maybe work on together to do something bigger. So I don't know how we fit it all in is my question, and whether or not maybe we're having a meeting in September, whether or not maybe some of the Together Now group would like to come or whatever.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Great idea that is.
Yeah. 1 year's gonna go so fast, but you do what you have to, isn't it? So yeah.
And people from other parts of the country joining that, Dawn, if they're not from.
So we originally, I mean, we got funded to bring together the Southeast in a sort of a Southeast regional forum sort of way, but Lisa from Sunderland People First, because of her involvement in this other project, and Stitch, because of their involvement, they're involved in stuff like that. So we definitely don't want to be exclusive of anybody. Zoom's made us realise, obviously, like the rest of us, that we can go outside the boundaries of where we live, you know. So I think everything's up to grabs, really. We're funded to do a Southeast sort of regional thing, which means we'd have to do an event and stuff like that. But I don't see why we can't be part of, you know, the self-advocates that I'm working with, like Danielle and stuff like that, that we'd really love to see how we can amalgamate it all, because we're all trying to do the same thing. So we don't want to go forward. We don't want to have 3 different sorts of things that are going on. And, you know, it'd be good to try and, we're all doing the same thing, is the thing, I guess. So, and your answer, that was a long-winded non-answer to your question, really, is I think we'd like to work with anybody, because we recognise the importance of this, and we're trying to do it in the Southeast. It seems silly us thinking about it only in terms of the Southeast if this is going on in a national way. So how we work together, I guess we've got to figure all of that out in terms, you know. Does that answer anything? I'm sorry, that's not very clear.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe what we could do is, if I don't know who it's best to contact with regards to it, but this morning, oddly enough, I sent out an email trying to sort out our next get together, which we're hoping to be in September, to give everybody time to plan for it and everything else. So whether or not, like I said, we could send out an invite to you to come along, so we could have those discussions. I think it had just, Danielle and I spoke, and that's what we were talking about, whether or not that would be the way sort of forward, if that's all right with you lot.
Yeah, that's great, Dawn.
Good idea to me.
Yeah, definitely. That's all we want. We just want everybody to come together. We all have the same wants, wishes, desires.
Yeah.
And how we do it might be a bit different across the country, but as long as we, you know, we all have the same, you know, goals, don't we, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Great.
Maybe if after this, then, if I email Learning Disability England, just because you've got all the contacts from here, and maybe we could sort of go forward that way, would that be all right?
That's fine with me. I'm happy to help.
Okay.
Great. I can see we've got some more hands up, and I know we're meant to be finishing now, so maybe if anyone needs to leave, they can, but we could maybe try and go quickly through these questions that are left. If that's all right with everyone. So I can see Chris, Corinda and Robert had his hand up. Chris.
Yeah, I remember checking all the instant self-advocacy groups here across Britain. And I'm working to advocate for all inclusion everywhere. I remember watching movies based on inclusion. Again, I remember checking all the self-advocacy groups based out of Britain virtually. Again, I'm urging everyone to advocate for all inclusion. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Corinda.
Yeah, so I don't know if I said it, but I think I come up people say, me and my manager, where my staff, Gary, which is, I don't know if he's still here, or if he's left. Gary's still here, Gary Walton, yeah, he's still here. Me and my staff, Gary, in LEE, we decided a thing, well, he decided a Facebook that which is for people first, and like we have a Facebook page as well, which is for people first. So if you want like know anything, like I know Gary is sorting out with me and Gillian at the moment. Is that right, Gary?
Gary's sorting what out with you, Corinda? Say that bit again.
No, like I was saying that Gary made a Facebook for people first. So like me, I don't know, like he made a Facebook group and a Facebook chat for people first. So if people first interested, then there's a people first chat on Facebook. Is that right, Gary?
No, I didn't get all that. Sorry.
You've got a page on Facebook, haven't you? Got People First the Movement, is it?
Yes, I do have that. And I'm in contact with over 4,000 members on that. And I do know that, and on Facebook Messenger, that a group from California, People First California, are wanting to set up an international conference in 2023. But they wanted to invite just People First groups. And I said that would be possible because we're a country very unique with self-advocacy groups with different names.
What Gillian? Sorry.
Oh, can people go on mute if they're not asking questions, please? Just because there's a little bit of background noise.
Yeah. What Gillian? I know someone from California when I did happened, and basically because I told Gary my card, you're like Gary, I told you my card, what I have got, what I'm a full member of, and I think some people are not quite getting the message for the people first.
Yeah. They're very sort of very strong in America and they're strong about their name. So in America, but I did say that self-advocacy in the United Kingdom is very, very different. I said.
Yeah, I want to just say something. Like all of like the groups start like using self-advocacy works, and then it will be better that way if people just everyone uses it, and then everyone just shares their work, and then the people know what they're doing across the country. So thank you.
Can I just ask, sorry, Rachel, can I just ask before we go, we wondered if we were able to take a screenshot of this so we could share on social media?
Yeah.
People are
No,
happy
why
with
not?
that?
Yeah, why not?
You're not, maybe you could just switch your camera on.
Yeah.
Robert, I know you've still got your hand up. We'll come to you in a second.
Sorry, Robert. I just thought before everybody starts to leave.
I was just gonna say one. I was gonna count down from 3 and then take a picture if that's okay. If anyone doesn't want to be on the photograph, just switch your camera off. That'd be great.
Thank you. Send a message in your chat.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3. That's a great picture. Oh, no, it's not. Can I do that one more time?
Okay.
Sorry. All right, sorry, Lisa. Oh.
That was Rachel.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Wonderful.
Thanks for being organised, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
enough to scare anyone.
And don't forget the hashtag, Andy.
So I can see 2 hands up now. So I'm going to ask, if I know some people probably need to go because we're running over, but if you could write your feedback in the chat about today's session, maybe what you've liked, or if you've learned something, or if there's something we could improve on, that's cool too. If you could put that in the chat, that would be really helpful. And then we'll take the last 2 questions as well. So Robert, I think you were.
Yeah, I actually, I represent on behalf of the London Forum, right? As you've probably got where my invite was come to this meeting today, right? I've actually found out that there are about 1/3 of boroughs in London haven't got advocate groups now like I used to because of funding, right? I mean, I was expecting like up a meeting to come to the London Forum about 32 boroughs in one go. And all I've got is about something like 3/4 of them turn up. I mean, we know very good one we got, which is part of your team as well, which is Lewis and Speak Up as well. They're pretty good. They're always coming to our meeting quite a lot. Because I know Ursula very well.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I know her for a long time now, getting to know her a bit more. And we work sometimes. I work with her sometimes with her other things, but she helps us like in our group to set up a hate crime as well, which is good. And that is up now, went up in running. That's a good news for her as well. Probably that's why. So the idea is about having more advocacy groups, right? I mean, London needs to be more, start getting more groups, people to get a group up running as well.
I think lots of areas of the country are struggling to get enough funding to keep their self-advocacy going. Yeah, thank you, Robert, for sharing that. Claire, if we take a last question from you before we wrap up.
Hiya. I work for a day service in Enfield. We aren't like specifically part of a speak out group or advocacy group, but we do a lot of advocating for the clients that we support. Can we still be part of this? It's a service for people with learning disabilities. Can we be part of this? What's next? Yeah, what happens next?
Oh, who wants to answer that?
I
don't know that. I think it needs to be one of the presenters, Corinda, from today.
Do we write a report? Do we? Yeah, I think.
What happens next is we hope that this turns into a social movement, really, that people start picking up on the fact that self-advocacy works.
That's why the hashtag is there, so everyone uses it.
We want the message to go not just to self-advocates, but to the people in power as well.
Yeah, like the government and the top people that make the decision.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
So, Claire, does your group have a social media presence?
We do, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So just use the hashtag, and obviously then everybody will be able to see all the other work, the work across the country, what is going on, and then maybe if we're doing something that's a bit like the petition that the We Are Human 2 group is doing, we could sign that. Then maybe we're working very closely, the We Are Human 2 group, with our local MP, and she's looking to maybe really pushing to have that discussed in Parliament. So all those kind of things people can get behind and get involved in.
Okay, and how do I find out more about like events that are happening? Because I just found this one on the off chance that on Eventbrite and sign myself up. Is there a way to sign myself up so that we know when events are happening?
Are you a member of Learning Disability England?
No.
Right, okay. So then hopefully the hashtag should so okay. If anyone's having an event, if they can use the hashtag, we should be able to, because if you Google the hashtag, then it should bring up all of this, every time it's used.
Fantastic. That's really helpful. Thank you.
That's what we're really trying to do, to try to get people to simply use a hashtag.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
very
if
much.
you would like to look at becoming a member of Learning Disability England, Claire, then I'd be very happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, today's meeting is not about promoting Learning Disability England, but do join.
Yeah,
exactly.
Lots of ways you can join, Claire. You can join as an individual, an organisation. So yeah, there's lots of different ways you can join.
Absolutely.
We love Learning Disability England though, so I think it's okay to big it up myself.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're all doing it for me, really.
Yeah, we were all at a loss when National Forum and Valuing People went, because us and Gary and a few other groups in South West, like the Brighton ladies in the South East, was right strong and doing stuff. And then overnight, Valuing People and National Forum went overnight, didn't it, a few years ago? And all little groups struggling. If it won't, thanks to Learning Disability England, there's only Mencap and the small groups, and we're in the right 2 and 8 was everyone. Didn't have that bigger voice if it wasn't for Gary and everyone doing Learning Disability England. We only have our small groups and Mencap, and on the web, weren't we, in a bit of a not that.
Well, I
national
think
voice.
today's shown, hasn't it, Amanda, that all you smaller groups can come together and work together to have that bigger voice.
Yeah, to that lady in the south what wants to, it used to be Our Voice, Our Health and whatever running in the south, but I think they've just called it Our Voice, and we've been a part of it for a while, but they've reduced the long title and they've got a logo and reduced the title, but a small group of all Southwest groups, and it's called some Our Voice or something. We've been going for the past few months now in that year, in the past year or two.
You could maybe help them connect in, Amanda. Do you think?
It's good to hear, Amanda. We'll definitely try and get in touch with anyone who's interested in how we fit into stuff as well. So thank you.
Great. I think we'll end it there, shall we? Because we're 12 minutes over.
Yeah, just remember self-advocacy works, guys, and then it'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Martin.
Thank you to all of our presenters today. I thought you did a lovely job. And thank you for everyone that came and listened.
Thank you.
All your great questions. And I will send a follow-up out so you can connect into some of the bits that we've talked about today. So.
Rachel, can I ask the presenters to stay on? Is that okay?
No, that's fine.
Great.
Fine.
Yep.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully see you at another webinar.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
See you later.
Thank you all. Good session, folks. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Oh.
So yeah, better speak to about the one in August.
Oh, and now we're back. So.
It's just us again.
Yeah.
Oh, she's gone. Oh no, I've just stuck her in the waiting room. Is that everyone? I think. No,
I'm not going to stay and get in your way. Rachel, you might want to pause the recording. I don't know. It's up to you. It's just more.